everybody, and welcome to an episode of Here at the Table, HEAR, because there's nothing like a word pun in an auditory medium for everybody to listen to. My name is Alex. You have hopefully listened to us before, but if you haven't, this is a podcast put on by the Cathedral, the Rockies communications team, and this is another one of our episodes. Brennan, we're really excited. This is one where we get to have conversations with people we think are really cool. Yeah. So
the coolest people in the room right now.
Coolest people in the room. Whoa. Some of our favorite people, basically just chatting with folks from our community. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guests for today. And they are Matt and Erin. Woo.
Yay.
We're so glad you're here.
Hi, glad to be here. Hi, I'm Matt.
Hi, I'm Erin.
It's so great to have you guys here. Literally before we just hit the record button, we were talking about how wonderful coffee is for everyone's voice right before you record a podcast. But can I start off with like this question? Do you prefer coffee or tea?
Ooh. It's got to be coffee for me.
Yeah.
I understand the medicinal properties of tea, like as like when I'm doing like acting or voice acting or whatever, but like it's coffee 9 times out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
For me, if it's before noon, it's coffee. Afternoon, it's tea.
That's smart.
That's my
That's
rule.
smart.
I think that is really smart. We would be... Brennan, you and I would be better off if we'd made those choices.
I would be better off if I wasn't chugging coffee at like 6 p.m. to work on a project. But, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, so Erin, favorite type of tea to drink afternoon?
I just love generic iced tea. I just make it all afternoon long. It's hard to find. I do cold brew because I'm lazy. So it's hard to find decaffeinated. So I am caffeinated all afternoon. It's also not a good idea.
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, and then for the room, roundabout, hot coffee or cold coffee?
Ooh.
Hot coffee every single time, even in summer. Hot coffee.
See, I'm the opposite. Iced coffee in the dead of winter. I'm cool with it.
Oh.
Yeah, gimme.
Hot for me because I feel like they're cheating me with the ice. It's all ice.
Exactly.
I get a whole cup of coffee if it's hot.
Yeah.
I'm such a fair weather coffee fan, so it's like if it is slightly cool outside, hot coffee. If it is hot outside, cold coffee all the time.
Balancing.
Okay,
Using
yeah.
it to balance. Yeah.
I usually go for a black coffee, and that I can't have cold. That tastes terrible to me cold.
Wow.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true.
It's
That's
true.
definitely true. I guess
Same.
it also depends too. If we're out and about, iced coffee for sure. But I'm too lazy to make it at home. And also we buy pretty decent like drip coffee. So I'll do hot coffee at home. But usually that's like in the morning and it's still cool or cold outside. So that makes sense. But if I'm out, cold coffee all the time.
That's a good take.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. That's
Got a million of them.
That's a real cold take.
That's good.
Oh gosh. Okay, so I wanted to give you both a chance to introduce yourselves a little bit as to like what your involvement is with Cathedral of the Rockies, what sort of has brought you here. So if you want to just go ahead, you can just go for it.
So Erin and I have been a couple for quite some time. And we came to start with like Cathedral of the Rockies. We came for like a couple of like Christmas and Easter type situations. You know, we'd heard good things. I'd seen good things. And we'd been coming, you know, kind of for the high holy days, like 2018, 2019 ish. And then like, I think it was right around Christmas 2019. We were like, hey, this is a good place. Let's start coming regularly and see what goes on. And then we met with a bunch of people who also volunteer here or who work here. And they kind of just like yoink, like just sort of like folded us in, which was really lovely, honestly. And is probably the main reason why we're still here. And then a terrible thing happened in like March, April of 2020.
What was that?
And COVID hit. It was in all the newspapers.
I haven't heard of it.
And everything had to go virtual. And we ended up with the previous contemporary music director filming a bunch of like filmed greetings and stuff for like the virtual church. And we did a lot of that. And even coming out of that, we've just sort of been like, I'll do the greeting sometimes at the downtown campus. I very occasionally make coffee at the coffee bar. I was one of the first ones to do that. I haven't done it lately and I get a lot of grief for it, but I'm working on it, coming back. And that's where I've been right now. So I would say if it's how long, it's been like 6 years, 5-6 years. maybe like 4 or 5 like solidly in the community. That's me anyway. But I don't play no music like this one does.
Yeah, I am an extremely amateur musician. And so I happened to be lucky enough to be standing around in the lobby when Lane, the previous worship director, grabbed me by the arm and said, "Do you play an instrument?" And so that's what we were just kind of drifting in and out before that. And that really hooked us, at least me. And so I started playing bass for worship. And I was so glad because like just so paralyzed by my, I forget the word, introversion. Thank you. It was nice to have someone like just grab me and be like, "You're doing this." So that was my in. And definitely the reason we're still here, because we loved coming here, and the sermons that I was hearing here was like nothing I'd ever heard anywhere else,
sure.
and was like just really healing my heart. So I was glad to also be part of like the volunteering community and get to know people that way.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I love that you shared a positive experience as an introvert, being like roped in by somebody, because I am not an introvert, but I always try to be very aware of the effect that extroverts can have on introverts. And like, that's always the thing that like scares me when I meet someone. I feel like I almost like do that thing where I come at them and I'm like, "Hi, it's so nice to meet you. Tell me more about your story." Okay, that's fine. Like, we don't have to keep talking if you don't want to. Like, I want to respect your distance. Like, I generally try to, like, in my position as the music person out at Amity, I feel like I generally try to like, I meet a person and then I'll just like drop the little hint and then I'll like wait and see. And like over time, I'll eventually like just rope people in because I'm trying not to scare them away.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very cool that you responded so well to that. I mean, I remember Lane. Lane is so lovely and so extroverted and just like the
And
friendliest
it works
person in the
somehow.
world.
Yeah.
She makes it
literally
work.
like, "Hi, I'm Lane. What do you do?"
Yeah.
And it worked. I was like, "What do you want me to do? I guess let's go."
And you were talking about over time, we'd been coming to Sundays for a little bit. And it was starting to get to the point where I was thinking, I need to talk to somebody instead of just showing up and walking right back out again. But I would just stand in the lobby and I'd like collect brochures and look at people walking by and be like, "I can't do it. I'm going home." So the time was there, we had the time of exposure, and then finally like just the right moment, somebody pounced.
Yeah. Cool. So you guys have actually both of you have been a part of this community for longer than Brennan and I have. So
That's true.
Are there like any insider secrets that we have not, like we haven't gotten our like 4-year anniversary, like secret info dump or anything like that we need to know about Cathedral?
Like, we don't know about the secret door. If you want to tell us about that.
What's the secret menu at the coffee bar? I don't know.
If there is one, I don't know it. I haven't worked there in a while.
No, like the thing that stands out to me the most about this community is, so like I'm kind of a drifter between communities. I'm usually an outsider, and I'm used to being corrected and straightened out when I'm not conforming to the culture. And it got to several years in here, and I realized that hadn't happened to me once here.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is the most welcoming group of people I've ever encountered, because they let me just barge into a place that they call home and just be me. And like, not that I ever barged, but like I was never straightened out and told, "No, this is how it goes here." So like, I don't have any insider knowledge because I've just always been allowed to just be me here. Is my experience. Maybe that was a more serious answer than you're looking for.
That's an excellent one.
Yeah. I don't know. I got to sit upstairs for the first time, and that was a secret to me until somebody pointed it out, but it's not a secret at all.
Yeah, upstairs is like a pretty disappointing secret.
Yeah.
You go out
It's
there
just
and you're
hallways.
just hallways and offices.
People sitting at their desk.
Getting work done. No, but I think that's a wonderful thing. Thank you for sharing that. And I would agree with you. I don't find that there is that same influence for people to kind of conform to the image of what we have decided this church looks like.
Yeah.
Speaking of secrets and upstairs, though, have we talked about there's the wall that has all the Jesus pictures on it, and one of them is Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Oh yeah.
Next time you're upstairs, it's like a Where's Waldo? One of those is Ewan McGregor.
I will lead you to your own conclusions as to what that could mean.
Yeah, who knows? I'm not trying to say one thing or another. Listen, Obi-Wan is who you say he is. That's all I'm saying.
Could Ewan McGregor be Jesus? That's not for me to say, but just think about it.
Did he die and rise again? Kind of.
So
Kind of.
you both showed up here 2019, kind of started to get like slowly, attended then started to get a little bit involved. And it sounds like throughout the pandemic, got really recruited into being involved in some stuff. But what was your journey, or what was your experience with church like before you found yourself here? Had you been like lifelong members at some other church before, or kind of like bounced from place to place? What was that story like for both of you?
I grew up kind of going to church. Like my family bounced around a little bit, like Protestant here and there, generally some Baptist churches, some whatever. I attended like youth groups and things at a Presbyterian church in West Boise, and became fairly involved in that church community, such that my mom told me years later she always thought I was going to be a pastor or something, which I thought it's never really seriously occurred to me, but I guess I just was really into it, I guess. And then kind of like stepped away for a while. I lived in LA for a little bit, and I found another church there that was like really close to my home, and found like a young adults group there because I was a young adult at the time. And those were dear friends, and we're still friends. And then kind of once I came home, I came back to Idaho, just sort of bounced around, didn't really actually go to church much until a few years into us being together. And then we were like, hey, let's go check out Cathedral of the Rockies and see what's going on. And that kind of leads me here. So in and out, it comes and goes.
When you were growing up and you were, found yourself in youth group and then also moved to a totally different community and then sought out a church experience, what was kind of your reason for seeking that out? Was it something about kind of, oh, my Sunday doesn't feel complete without going to church? Or was it like, what were some of the thoughts behind that kept you wanting, like, seeking that community?
Oh, sure. Yeah. And I think that's exactly it. It was just sort of an identification of lack of community, really. In youth group and like at a vacation Bible school, I did the whole schmear when I was a kid. I helped out with VBS after I like got too old to do it. Like I was in deep. And I really think that coming back to the community was it. And even in LA is a big place. It can be a scary place, a lonely place, certainly. And, after a few false starts trying to find a spot, like attending services over Christmases and things, just found this spot. It was like literally like a 5-minute walk from my house in Eagle Rock, and just found this wonderful group of people. Similar deal. Like I kind of kept coming, and eventually people were like, hey, what's your deal? Who are you? Like, in the nicest way. That sounds confrontational. And it wasn't. It was wonderful.
What's your deal?
I started running. I just ran.
Who are you and what is your deal?
What's your business here?
Exactly. And then got involved with like the young adult group, and we would go camp, like kind of like hardcore like into it after that. And leaving that community was tough, but it was really important to find. I didn't realize it at the time, but it was really important to find that community, and then coming to find it again, to be attracted to that again here. I think it was a big part of like, maybe not why we came, but certainly why we stayed up to this point.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
I grew up in one church, specific place that was a non-denominational fundamentalist sect, very insular, purity codes, complementarianism, all these words I learned after I left. But basically for the first 30 years of my life, alarm bells were just going off the whole time I was trying to participate in this community. It wasn't a psychologically safe place for me because there's like just the internalized sexism that was taught to girls. And I was an asexual teen. And so all the purity stuff was like a foreign language. Like they were trying to prepare me for the hazards of an internal landscape that I absolutely didn't have. And meanwhile, I did have extremely bad religious OCD that no one was really aware of at the time, which I've learned since it's the most common kind of OCD. Wow. Where instead of hand washing, it's nonstop praying. And instead of knowing you have like a mental illness and a compulsion, it's God making you just always pray. I failed tests because God wouldn't let me stop praying during the test. So, and no one even knew that was going on because they just had an idea of what young kids go through. And I didn't fit that at all. And so finally at age 30, I told my parents, I have to go. I have to leave. This isn't a good place for me. And that was tough. Everyone is still there. My whole family still goes there. My sister and I are the only black sheep. But the biggest thing I learned is if I don't want them to judge me and think I'm in the wrong place, I have to let that be the right place for them. Part of me that hoped everyone would do this big walkout, like with me in solidarity or something, that, they're in the right place for them. So just I have to trust that process. And so when I met this guy, I was an atheist. And when I found out he was so cool, so when I found out he was Christian, I was like, what? No way. And I was like, not this again.
Mark's against him.
I know. And then, but he was so cool. I was like, hey, man, I got to give this a second look. And my version of a second look was, well, I love Christmas. I love candlelight and music. I want to go to a beautiful cathedral and hold a candle at midnight on Christmas. And he was into that too. So I was like, cool, I get what I want. So we went, and it was the Christmas service here in the cathedral, of course, is incredible. It's beautiful. But then Pastor Dwayne started talking and said things I'd never heard at church before that just like just broke my heart open. And I was like crying, like joyfully. And I wanted to hear more. So like I was back at work, but going through the website, the church website, and listening to back episodes and old sermons. And I obsessively, I even downloaded the audio files so that if I couldn't find them on the website, I'd keep them, especially stuff about hell, stuff about LGBTQIA identities, It was all so helpful. And then I was like, I have to start going here. And so, yeah, I just wanted to come back and hear more and meet people who were part of this community. And yeah, that was my journey. I didn't try much of anything else in between. I was very anti-church. So I was very surprised to find myself back at a church and loving it.
Yeah, I think that's such a cool story. And I think really speaks to some degree of like a willingness to be vulnerable, to like open yourself back up to that again. Because that takes a lot of strength to do that, especially after you've like experienced so much hurt. I know that was a big part of my story. Like there was a lot of church hurt in the place that I came from.
Yeah.
The only difference was that I came here really fast after that experience because I needed a job and I got one. But I can totally relate to that thing of like, you hear things here in this space preached by Pastor Ben was the one that was the first pastor that I came in under. And I remember just sitting through those first few sermons that Pastor Ben was preaching and just being like, I have never heard a religious person say things like this in church.
Yeah.
I was like, I've heard religious people, like clergy people, say things like this on a YouTube video or an Instagram reel or a podcast, but never in church,
That's a good
in
point.
front of everyone.
Yeah.
And then like Pastor Ben or Adam or whoever is up there making like a really progressive point. And then you've got these people out in the crowd that are like, amen. Amen. That's right.
I love it.
Can I speak more to the ACE point?
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with that?
Absolutely.
Because I'm also in an ACE partnership. And like, that's something that doesn't really get covered a lot when we talk about LGBT involvement with the church. It's like, there's a lot of like really Puritan churches out there where if you're ace, it's really freaky when they say, hey, you're gonna have a baby. It's just gonna happen.
Right.
Your calling is to go out and reproduce. And that's freaky for someone who's ace.
Yeah.
That's your job as a human person, is to get married and have children and reproduce. And
it's a huge source of anxiety.
Or when you're a teenager and then they're just filling you constantly with the messages of like, you're going to be filled with these overwhelming urges.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, okay, if you say so, I guess. So waiting for that. And then also heaping shame on, whereas as an adult ace or somewhere on the ace spectrum, like when I do engage with that sexuality and stuff, that's a huge win. That's a bonding moment with a partner, and to have shame on that, I'm like, no, I have to be glad for moments when that comes in and out of my life instead of like having shame over it. So that all the language around sexuality in church has always been it just had nowhere to land for me. I had no container to put it in. I couldn't understand it.
Exactly.
Just coming from a completely different experience. Yeah.
I don't want to tell my partner's story too much, but she was told growing up, abstinence, and she was like, okay, not a problem with me.
Right.
And then she gets
sorry.
to her 20s and her parents are like, well, where are my grandkids? Like,
Right.
what? This
You said abstinence.
Time to start being fruitful and multiplying. What are we doing? Yeah.
Exactly. That sudden turn, like kids in my family went to Bible college. I'm the only one who didn't. And the whole thing was like, don't look at anybody while you're in Bible college. And literally the day of graduation, they're like, hey, so you have your eye on anyone? And the frustration is like, no, because I listened to you.
You told me not to.
You told me not to, and I listened to you. Yeah. So this idea that I'm going to give you this advice and you're not going to listen to it. And so now I want to know who do you have your eye on, even though I told you not to. Yeah. It's strange. I think it's strange because it's not examined enough. And when we don't examine stuff, it gets weird like that.
Mm-hmm.
There is such broad assumption and conformity expected and like heaved upon young people and young adults in the way that they're going to do it. And I know that like, I mean, you're both talking about your experience. My experience of it was sitting through those conversations and there's just no representation of anything different. Mm-hmm. And so they're constantly saying, like for me sitting there as a young gay teen and they're sitting there saying like, you know, don't look at these images of women and don't degrade women in these ways. And I was like, you got it, man.
Totally.
Like,
Totally.
I definitely will not do that. And then it's like, I love seeing the trend sometimes like on Instagram or TikTok where people talk about like, I just thought I was really good at purity culture.
Right.
Turns out I'm gay or queer or, you know, somewhere in that spectrum of things.
Totally.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing that piece. And I want to kind of bounce off of what you were talking about, Matt, is that like community. When we look at this church community, Cathedral of the Rockies, why have you continued to remain a part of this community? What have you found that has like given you life, that has fed your spirit? What keeps you here?
I think for me, I think it started with the people, right? And then certainly sitting in, you know, at service and hearing this stuff coming from the pulpit, stuff that, even as a guy who like, I guess I never really examined it up to a point like, oh yeah, well, there's church and then you go to church and you hear stuff at church. And I had never heard that stuff before either, or put in that sort of context. And it was one of those things where you just sort of, I guess I'll just believe around all these things. And you still kind of have to, we all have to make our negotiations, right, with the Bible and with faith and what we're called to do and all those things. But this church specifically, this group of believers, to me, does a really great job of putting a lot of stuff into practice. There's a lot of, I would say, means coming from this church, and that is being used to do a lot of great things. Like even from that very first Christmas service where they were like, hey, we're collecting money for 3 things. One is an international thing, one is a national thing, and one is like right here in our backyard. And I was like, that's cool, because there's a lot of need to go around and we can't address all of it, obviously, but it's being addressed. Like we're doing what we can, and that feels tangible, and that feels actionable, and that feels like something I can be a part of. Or the framing the house every year, the Christmas boxes, like this is a group of people who are doing their best to put into practice to address a need in the way that they are being asked to help, right? I feel like there's a lot of church communities who are trying to provide help, but are not asking what the need is, and are just sort of, it almost comes off as performative. And I don't mean to like indict anybody there. We're all doing our best, but like, and I'm sure there are places where this group gets it wrong or could be doing it better as well. But it's just pretty incredible to be a part of this group that is doing all of these things and is making this sort of impact. We came today to this spot and like the lobby is full of people who are sitting and having coffee and like it's a little chilly. They're coming in and look like, that's incredible. Like, and it could be that way if we dared imagine it so. And this group has a pretty good imagination. So I think all of that, there's an answer somewhere in there to your question, I think, as to why I'm still here. I think it's really exciting to see it put in practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think my reasons have changed over time. Very similar. When I started, it was very selfish. I was just like, I need more of what's here. And I was pretty used to every Sunday having my mind blown, learning something new, healing a ton, crying a bunch. One thing I love about Pastor Dwayne, he's not afraid to cry while he's preaching a sermon. And it made me feel so much better because I was crying every week. And then I remember when like I started being like, familiar with the things that were being said. And I wasn't having these big, huge moments. And I was like, oh, why am I here now? You know? And then that had to kind of evolve because I realized that I had been very self-focused at the time, just in a stage of life where I needed to do a bunch of healing. And realizing coming out of that stage and into a new one where I kind of wanted to be challenged to become like the people who were offering me all this healing and just continue that throughout the world and or wherever I am, So I guess it's because I see here a level of giving and serving and helping and also growing, like evolving and just becoming, I don't know, becoming the church as we hope the church to be. And I want to be part of that. And I want to learn from that. And and just lend whatever I have to what's going on and let that change me in ways that will make me a better version of me and make me part of the church as I want to see it.
I'm just really grateful that the two of you are a part of this community.
Yeah.
I remember the first couple times that I got a chance to, the first time I got a chance to interact with you, Erin, was through Christmas at the Cathedral.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I think, or it might have been NLI, but
yeah.
either way,
Mm-hmm.
like those were just like such fun moments. And like you talked about wanting to be a part of like providing some of that healing for people. And you know what? I think you are in so many ways, especially with really groovy low frequencies. Like your bass playing is healing my soul every time I get a chance to play with you.
That's so nice.
Because you do such an amazing job. And you two, it's so funny because I think that you two are now like exactly the kind of people that like I am most excited to get to encounter here at this church.
Oh man.
And I just remember that first, like there was a time where we had like this first conversation with the both of us. Like it was you were both there and I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just walking away. I was like, I want to be their friend.
Oh, that's nice. Same.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not cool enough though.
No, you are definitely cool.
Alex is way
enough.
too cool.
Oh no, you guys are way cooler than I am. So we love this church, and you referenced this is a church that is willing to dream of the ways that we can make the world better. And I think that's great. And this is my favorite question to ask people on this like interview part of the podcast. And we have this question, and you can choose to look at it through the scope of whichever lens that you want to. The question is, how do you think that the church, so that could either be this specific church or the United Methodist Church or institutional Christianity in general, in any narrow or broad lens that you want to bring, but how do you think that the church needs to adapt and change for the times that we are living in right now?
The tradition I came from, that was seen as betrayal of Christian values, changing and adapting, especially for the current culture. And so the thing I want us as Christians and Christianity in general, I would love if we could shed ourselves of the illusion that we are separate from culture and not affected by culture, because all that illusion does is give a pass to the identities that are dominant already to be invisible drivers of church culture, like whiteness, like heteronormativity, things like that. And so like, instead of letting those things function invisibly in the background, just admitting it's all a part of us. Church culture, the broader culture, it's all part of the thing that's us. And we can be mindful of our choices in evolving and changing that culture and borrowing more from each other. I wish there was a little bit visiting churches of other traditions or even other religions and learning from each other. I remember one of the reasons I came back to Christianity was listening to traditions of indigenous spirituality and thinking, that is so healthy and beautiful and wise. I want that in my life. And then I was like, well, I don't want to appropriate what is mine already. Well, Christianity is already mine. That was a hot mess last time I checked on it, but maybe I'll go back and see if I can't be part of a group of people who are learning these things from indigenous spirituality and applying them at home so that our home church can become more. And I spent some time over at a friend's church has a really good environmental focus. And I want to be part of more environmentally focused Christianity.
Yeah.
And so that's something I would like to do more of. But yeah, those are all kind of just general. Is that even getting close to the answer?
I think that
that's
was a
perfectly good.
wonderful
Okay.
answer.
I love the cathedral, and I feel like what was it that was said in worship one time? You're doing everything right. Somebody who wasn't sure if they're doing a good job. You're doing everything right. It's like, right. That's not possible. But I'm in a stage where the Cathedral is just doing everything the way I want to learn how to. And so I have like no notes there or anything, but Christianity as in general and like Christian churches, I wish there was a little bit more going to each other's places and learning from each other.
Yeah.
I think that's my answer. Got around to it.
I think there's a lot of like elements of that we go over because we had it was like a year ago, we had Faith and Atheism where Irene analyzed a bunch of different faiths, and it wasn't just atheism, but I think we talked about Taoism a little bit.
Cool.
I don't know, it was a year ago and I have the memory of an ant, but the church does do a good job of like looking at other faiths and seeing what we can add to our own faith from those things.
For real.
You've been percolating over there.
Yeah, how's that percolation?
Yeah, buckle up, Christianity. Let's talk for a second.
Is the coffee brewed?
I would say, I don't know that I have much for like this particular church, belonging to what I would now identify as a progressive church. I don't know what the makeup is, but I imagine not everybody believes the exact same way. But like, it still feels broadly to be maybe more progressive than certainly other churches I've been a part of. And in fact, I don't even think I thought of it in those terms until like, I think I was like one random, like I was at the kitchen table, we were making breakfast and my old pastor from my old church came up and like, he was kind of this goofy dude. And all of a sudden he's made this like crazy hard right turn into like anti-Islam. Like, and I was like, not my old like Bible school pastor. Like I wasn't thinking about it in those terms. I didn't know what the politics were, and maybe that's good. I don't know. But I would say all that to say progressive Christianity, I feel like has a moment here, or there is a moment to take. And it is not, this is maybe an indictment of myself as well. I don't necessarily go broadcasting around that I am a believer, that I'm a Christian, whatever even that means. I'm not even quite sure what that means for myself, but it's a tough time to identify that way. When the ones that are making the headlines are, it's Christian nationalism. It's the far right. It's kind of been hijacked. And I mean, I really do believe that. I'm not a Bible scholar or anything, but like, I don't know how you can read the Bible and how that can be your end point. Like, oh, I'm reading the same thing that you are, but I'm going to use it as a cudgel, as a sword, as to punch down at people. That seems wild to me. So progressive Christianity, I think, has a moment in these times that we find ourselves in to stand up and be counted and say, that's not everybody. We don't agree with that. Here are some ways that we can, give back to the community and give back to society and contribute and be just a little more chill than the people who are making headlines. And I don't know what that looks like necessarily, but I really do feel like churches like the Cathedral are creating a blueprint for the rest of us to come and do these things. Because it's not necessarily, in my experience, it hasn't been, oh, come grab a bag lunch or come have pizza, and then someone's going to talk to you for 30 minutes about your own personal faith. Maybe that happens, but like, you don't want to trap people. We're not Wile E. Coyote with the little stick and the box trying to catch the roadrunner with a slice of pizza or a coffee, which is very much how I grew up. That was it. Like, we got to win souls for the kingdom. I can't tell you how many times I was saved at like the fair or whatever. Somebody at a booth was like,
the fair.
You're saved now. They would throw a bunch of Chick tracts at me and be like, go write in your Bible. Today's the day you were saved. I'm like, I don't think so. I'm just looking for the bathroom. But they get to go home and go, oh, I saved a soul today. That young man, I was like, I don't know, man. I'm just, trying to play pinball or whatever. I think it is important to say that is not what Christianity is to me. That is maybe not even what Christianity is, or at least does not have to be. Just because it is Christianity, that doesn't mean it has to look that way. Certainly not. And that can't feel good. I made a joke about believing around some things, but like, we should engage with it, right? It is a negotiation. It's a struggle. I was listening to a podcast just yesterday, actually talking about culture. And the guest on the podcast said, God is in the answer, and the answer is holy, but God is in the question, and the question is just as holy. Like, we need to engage with that a little more. we can do better, and we can do with the situation we have, we could do something different and provide an alternative and be loud about that.
Yeah.
Yes. I forgot. We need to be louder, I think, is the most important thing for Christians who are living love today and not hate. We just need to be a lot louder. So that is what people think of when they hear about Christianity.
All right. Well, you guys, I just really appreciate you both being here so much.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to close things out, but I want to go through my last section. This is the final quick questions. And this is one of my favorite moments because you get to just like share some of your favorite things, share some of your not favorite things.
Yeah.
So the first one that I'm going to start with, and we're all going to answer this, we'll go around. What is one of your favorite food establishments in the Treasure Valley right now? It could be anything. It could be a bar. It could be a coffee shop. It can also be all forms of food.
I got to shout out Kibram's Ethiopian and Eritrean cuisine on State. It is in the most unassuming little strip mall spot you'd ever been, but I've had it a couple of times. Our friends who got married had it for their like wedding reception catering. It's incredible. It's meat and lentils and veggies, and it's all with like what's the bread called? I forget.
Oh yeah.
Injera.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I have taken out of town folks. Like I just recently did a theater production with some out of town actors, and I took one of them to Kibram's. They never had Ethiopian food.
Wow.
And they were like, well, this has ruined me for Ethiopian food because I'm going to go home and it's not going to be as good. I was like, I know you wouldn't think you could find it here, but Kibram's is so good. That's my. Do the white tibs if you're a weenie like me and don't like a lot of spice. You can go red if you're crazy, but it's going to be white ones for me.
My favorite will be a favorite meal time and place at this place specifically. So we discovered brunch at Ling and Louie's on the river. And that's my favorite.
Brunch at
Yeah.
Ling and Louie's.
Their brunch game is so
It's
strong.
so much. I mean, their
It's
food is
crazy.
good, but their brunch is so much better than anything they serve the rest of the day. I get this skillet of just like hot sizzling meat, eggs, and veggies, and then just the blackest black coffee, and sit out on a cool patio with the river going by and tons of dogs being walked by. It's my favorite food experience in Boise right now.
That sounds so great.
That sounds wonderful. I'll need to try their brunch. I hadn't considered brunch at Ling and Louie's.
Yeah.
That's wow.
And if you have time to go back home for a nap, they have really great brunch beverages too. So if you got stuff to do that day, that's not the move. But boy, their breakfast
Take a
drinks are
mimosa
delicious.
nap afterwards. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Thank you. Brennan?
Okay, last time you asked me this, I said tangos.
You
That's
did.
still my answer.
Oh,
It's still
yeah.
your answer. I
It's
love
good.
But I don't want to just say tangos again. So I'm going to pivot a little bit because there's been a lot of festivals. We've been in festival season lately. And one that I have been craving a lot lately is Nut Hut.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that is I think it's like kind of a local thing, right? Nut Hut?
I believe
Or if
so.
Yeah. Every time I can smell them. I can smell them from like 500 feet away. I'm like, where are they at? I got to like triangulate with my nose where Nut Hut is because it is some good stuff. I love I go for the cashews and my partner goes for the pecans. And then I will usually get a little bit of both.
That was going to be my question, was which one. Yeah, but that I like the sharing. I'm going to go with my favorite tacos in the Treasure Valley. Require commitment because they are in Caldwell.
Nice.
Okay.
But Tacos El Rey out in Caldwell, and there are so many establishments in the Treasure Valley called Tacos El Rey, and they're not the same.
Okay, this is good. This is good info.
Yeah, they're all very different. It's a very common name. I don't think there are any common owners, or there might be a couple locations of common owners, but the one out in Caldwell is like you go in, you order at the counter, and it's pretty specifically like it's really good street tacos, and they are just my favorite tacos in the Treasure Valley. Like I love that place so much. So Tacos El Rey out in Caldwell.
I'm not
gonna need
surprised it's
this.
in Caldwell. Yeah.
I'm going to need
Yeah.
the street address.
Yeah,
Make
for
sure we
real.
get it
We'll
right.
give it
That's right. Okay, this is the next question. What's one piece of terrible advice? Either a piece of terrible advice you'd like to share with people, or one that someone has shared with you.
Definitely treat your job and your coworkers as family. You're a
Ooh,
family.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
definitely let yourself get exploited and used up, and have that be used as a cudgel against you until the moment that you are no longer necessary, and then you get like laid off or fired or whatever. Like that's a bunch of baloney. we all know having a job is transactional. That doesn't mean that you can't be friends with the people that you work with or be friendly, but just remember, at the end of the day, they are not your friends. If you want terrible advice, don't set any boundaries with your work and allow yourself to be used up in that way. There you go.
That's a good one. Yeah. And that's one we get all the time. Oh, we're family here, you know. A bit of bad advice that I took once and it saved me one time, but it should not become routine, was back when I did a lot of performing. I had a gig and I was losing my voice because I was coming down with something. And some friends of mine had come to my show and I lost my voice halfway through the set.
Oh, no.
And they, bless their hearts, ran across the street. This was at the Crux. No liquor.
Yeah.
They said, you need whiskey for that voice.
No.
Yeah, it's bad. I told you, it's bad advice. They ran across the street to Mully's, bought a shot of whiskey, poured it in a styrofoam cup, put it under their jacket, ran it back to the Crux, handed it to me. I shot it on stage. I finished the set with a perfectly good voice and then had no voice for the next several days.
Yep.
So exactly. It's bad advice.
It's going to burn your vocal
It
cords.
saved that one show, and I never had to do it again in my life. And it's a beloved memory with a couple of friends of mine.
In fairness, it's pretty punk rock.
But don't
like,
do it. It's not good. Yeah, it's the people who know about singing here all like, no, it's...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but boy, it really, it got me through that one night.
Okay, Brennan, a piece of terrible advice.
You ever like fried something, like some oil in a little pan at home? When you're done with that grease, that can go right in the sink. That's where that
Right down
goes.
the hatch.
Right down the hatch, yeah. Like it's made of that stuff that the grease just kind of slides off of. So you just put it down in.
But you're
Just
talking
get rid of it.
Okay, can I just expose myself though?
Yeah.
I do that all the time. You're talking about grease, not oil, right?
I'm talking about grease.
Okay, good. Okay, grease, I understand you. At first you
You
said
shouldn't do it with
oil.
oil either.
Well, yeah, but like cooking oil or whatever, like, you know, like, am I supposed to pour it
It's
into
still not great for your pipes.
Well, my pipes aren't very happy. I don't know why.
Alex, my whole shtick in this segment is to say advice that's obviously wrong with a straight face. How could you?
How could I heed your advice? Oh gosh. Okay. Mine is not that deep, but my piece of terrible advice is just keep reading that book through the turbulence on the airplane. Just keep reading that book on the road trip when you're sitting in the back seat.
Totally.
You're going to be fine. That's not going to cause any problems.
Sure.
You got to show the
Great.
book you're not afraid.
Yeah, exactly. Show the
who's boss.
conditions. Okay, this is my new question that I told you guys I was going to invite you to share. This is, what is one petty grievance that you would like to share with the world?
Zipper merging in traffic. Friends, zipper merge. You're going to save us all a lot of time and heartache. It's not a big deal. Everyone stacks up in the left lane. And then you can see the people flying by on the right lane because they are zipper merging. They're doing it right.
For the sake of argument, just just define what zipper merging is. Like, just in case anybody that doesn't know what that is. That
Yeah,
isn't
for sure,
me.
for sure. So zipper merge is when you're driving in traffic and two lanes have to come down to one lane for some reason. There's an accident, there's road construction, there's whatever. The correct thing to do is to stay in the two lanes, and then like each lane trades off, like one and one and one, right, left, right, left, right, left. Everyone just gets through. That's not what people do around here. What people do is they get into the correct lane a mile ago and they cause traffic to stack up behind them, and that right lane or the other lane is completely clear of cars. Like, those cars could be occupying two lanes and we could be going one at a time, but everyone thinks that and I was this guy, thinks that it's just some righteous act to get in the correct lane and make traffic go all the way back to the previous exit or whatever. And then they get mad at people who do it right, who like fly by them and are in the right-hand lane. They're like, well, you don't get to just come over. Yes, you do. That's correct. That's the way to do it. You're doing it wrong.
I know people they take it so personally too. Like when that person comes up in the right lane and then they like merge in at the last second, like those people take it so personally and they will like block it so that they can't get in.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
I waited. I did the right thing and I waited.
Right.
You get to wait now. It's definitely, that's the narrative in my head that
Yeah.
I have to talk down.
That was a great petty grievance.
That's so
Thank you.
good.
the pettiest.
It's true. It's the only time I ever see you mad is when you're driving. You save it up for then.
I do.
Okay, this one is hyper local to our neighborhood. Parking is, so it's not going to apply to anybody, but I don't know. I'm not saying I'm like a great person who doesn't have petty gripes. They just come and go so suddenly that I forget. I don't know. I'll get all fired up.
That's a healthier way to live as a person.
Yeah, because I never forget, and it drives me nuts. It's not healthy.
Here's one that I didn't forget that I held on to is in our neighborhood, we're in a cul-de-sac, and when we first moved in, people park crazy there. They park in the pinwheel to fit more cars in, so like nose into the sidewalk. And we moved in. I was like, this is crazy, but I will adapt to the culture of the neighborhood I've moved into.
Yeah.
So I learned to pinwheel park. And now we've been there for like 9 years. So I think we're the longest people on that street because it's very much come and go kind of residency. And I was pinwheel parked to give my driveway spot to a guest of mine. And at the end of the night, I didn't go move my car. I left it on the street. I came out the next day and someone had left a note on my car making me feel bad for parking the way like I'd done something really inconsiderate. And I was so petty, I held on to that sign and kept it in my car and lectured it whenever I saw it. I was like, you don't understand. You don't just move into a neighborhood and start telling people there how to live. I adapted. You have to adapt. And in fact, not long after that, a friend of mine left a nice note in my car. She just poked it into the window because she saw my car. And then I could let go of the neighbor's mean note. I threw it away and I held on to my friend's nice note, and I keep it where I can see it in my car. So that was my petty gripe, was I was angry at that neighbor and I don't even know who it was for a while.
Some busy
for being
body.
angry at me.
Yeah.
I also have, I'm going to keep the traffic thing going, the car theme that we got going on here. Mine is people who just rev their engines too loud. Drives me crazy. There's a guy in my neighborhood, there's two of them that have sports cars that at all hours of the day, just they turn it on. And like, there's just no reason for that. I want rocks to be thrown at them when I hear that. I'm in my kitchen at 11 o'clock at night because I don't eat like a normal person, and I hear, I'm like, I hope that explodes. I hope that floods and explodes, and it makes me so upset. It's not even that big of a deal because it happens for a second and then it's done. But it sticks with me. It sticks with me far longer than the actual noise has left the vicinity. And like,
That's so funny.
It's obnoxious, especially during quiet hours.
Yes.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll do it in the afternoon. I'll still get mad. It's not about the
sure.
time. But
I'm going to be nonconformist and I'm going to move away from traffic as a topic of petty
fine.
grievance. My petty gripe is Netflix, and I don't even think it's that petty. It is just, I want more than 8 episodes of a show.
My God.
Are
Yes.
you telling me that writers can only write 8 episodes worth of content? No, I know. For decades before, they were writing full seasons, 26 episodes of content.
Yeah.
And now, no, you're just supposed to be happy with 8. And then it takes 3 more years to get the second season.
If you get
Yeah.
one at all.
Yeah.
If you get it at all.
Oh, if it's Netflix, you're absolutely not
You're
getting a
just
second
getting
season.
the first season. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not petty at all. That's high. You
No.
say it with your whole chest.
I love it. I love it.
It's ridiculous.
8
just makes
episodes
me
is an
so
EP. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not an LP.
Yeah.
That's a
a
Saturday
pilot.
with nothing else to do.
Incredible.
Maybe not a petty grievance, but definitely frustrates me. Okay. Share a book, podcast, movie, TV show, video game, album, any sort of piece of media that is bringing you joy right now.
The serious answer is I'm really enjoying the book Better Ways to Read the Bible. And I've forgotten the author's name.
Oh, Zach Lambert.
Zach Lambert. Yeah. Yeah. I just really appreciate it. I'm really enjoying it such that I'm actually having to take breaks from reading it because I want to actually read it and highlight stuff that I want to remember later. And then my silly answer, I'm sorry, I'm doing 2. We are playing Metopia on the Switch and it is silly. I saw some streamers online playing it and they were skeptical. One of them was like, you got to play this game. It's great. And the others were like, whatever, this seems silly. And they started playing it and it is great because you get to cast, it's an RPG basically that you get to cast Miis that other people have made, like of The Rock and Shrek and like the Count from Sesame Street.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic
Why
the
not?
Hedgehog. You get to cast them in this RPG and give them personalities. And if you match their like on-screen personalities pretty well, then it's basically like having bonus episodes of your favorite content where they're just like slaying dragons and stuff. And it's extremely silly. And the game makers know what they're doing. They made it extremely silly.
Cool.
Yeah, it's extremely low stakes, low pressure. You have to really try hard to be bad at it. And sometimes that's what you need. Like I don't need to rage game. I'll just do one because I will co-author Metopia. It was very fun. If you have a Switch and you have some time to play like a JRPG style game, I will go ahead. I mentioned the podcast. I've been listening to a lot of the Bible for normal people. It's a really great left. I don't know that they identify as leftists. Pete Enns and Jason. What's his name? Pete and Jason. But
Jared Bias.
Jared Bias. But it's a great podcast for, I think, progressive Christianity to like just sort of wrestle with and re-examine and take a look at and sort of just turn it around like a Rubik's Cube. Like the Bible, your faith, Christianity, what it means to be Christian today. It's been very helpful for me for like talking points and like to like check in with my own, like, what do I feel about this? Have I considered this? Have I examined this part of, my faith? What does the Bible say? What does it not say? And literally the episode I listened to the other day, I'm going back and listening to them all in order because it's been out for like a decade. There's a lot of episodes, but yeah, I was talking about engaging with the Bible and engaging with faith in culture. And like the Bible was written in a culture. So to say that the Bible should be immune from culture is crazy. And I hadn't really thought of that. So like, if you kind of want like, just on your walk, I mean, I'm walking a lot, like just listening to this and just like contemplating, right? Like letting all this soak in and really enjoying it. Like it's entertaining as well. They're great podcast hosts, and yeah, I really recommend it. The Bible for Normal People. It's plus like the title is pretty tongue in cheek. Like, who's normal? I don't know what that means, but
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Awesome. Cool. Brennan?
It's a HBO original show. It is called Common Side Effects. My partner and I watched it recently. It is it's a fully animated drama. So it's not usually when there's like an adult animated show, it's usually like a comedy in some aspect. Even like more serious examples like BoJack Horseman they have a strong comedic element to them. This is just straight a drama, mystery, conspiracy show that's just got such a finely crafted world. This guy finds a mushroom that can heal any injury.
Ooh.
And there's like this whole conspiracy subplot about the pharmaceutical companies are not happy that he has found this, and then there are other people who study the mushroom who want the mushroom to have control over it because it's very rare and only grows under certain conditions. There's this whole aspect of like how can you grow the mushroom, and there's like a bit of intrigue, like is what side effects is the mushroom having on people? Like, is it worth it to introduce this into people's systems? Like, it's really, really interesting. I can't recommend it enough. It's a real good show.
Okay.
It's by Joe Bennett and Steve Helly. I think it's Joe Bennett is like a YouTube animator who came up through HBO, which is I love to see that. Love to see independent animators get their own shows made. Common Side Effects is on HBO Max.
Okay, the one that I want to share is a YouTube channel, and it is just something that is delightfully nerdy and also sarcastic and a little like optimistic, all like kind of rolled into one. And it is this guy who has this YouTube channel called City Nerd, and it is all about city planning and just transit and walkability in places and like where some of the best places in the country to live are that are for great value or great places to live if you want to walk places. And it's just so interesting. And the way that this guy presents the information is like delightfully monotone and deeply sarcastic, like just a very dry sense of humor, but also so informative. It's one of my favorite ways to just like unwind. Like whenever I see that he has uploaded, he's in the series where he does a lot of like visits to different cities around the world or around America. And he'll like talk about what like transit in those cities looks like, what biking in those cities looks like. And he hates cars. Yeah. He hates cars so much.
Love that.
And he does not hold back on how much he hates cars.
I love it.
And so, City Nerd on YouTube. That is one of my favorite things.
Taking notes.
The next question, who is someone that you think more people should know? Who is someone you think more people should know?
Your local librarian. Just go get to know them and the library as well. I mean, it's kind of an old saw at this point, but it is crazy the amount of stuff you can do at a library with a library card. It's not just books and computers. There's a library of things, there's subscriptions, there's all this stuff that you can get through a library for free with your library card. Libraries are having a tough go right now, as we all are, but universally, I think everybody loves the library. I just recently did a show with Boise Contemporary Theater where the library had donated like a ton of books because it was set in a classroom, and they just gave us all these like out of circulation, decommissioned books. I don't know if they took them back or whatever, but we would recognize them every night, like at the curtain speech, like, hey, thanks to the Boise Public Library for these books. Biggest applause of the night almost for the library. So I'm not telling you folks anything you don't already know, but like definitely go engage with your local branch, your local whatever. They could use some support just now and get to know them better.
Yeah. Cool. I like that.
Grace Baldridge, otherwise known as Semler.
Love. Yes. Yep.
I was introduced to her music through the worship team, but then following her on any socials, wherever anything is on social, all good content. Right now, I think they're on tour. And so you'll be getting a lot of live videos of, not live videos, but clips of live shows that are maybe the best, like, modern tent revival experience I can think of, where swear words are sung and shouted, you know, like it's just so great. And especially right now, I've just been on repeat playing her Jesus from Texas and Amen, because those two songs are reminding me of like where my amens are at. Like she lists all sorts of things that she's got an amen for, like drinking with friends, you know, like where are the places where you're connecting with deep meaning and love and belonging and things that are propelling you forward. And then also, where are my blessings? Like sometimes the world will try to convince us, you know, some of our identity markers are bad when we know those are our deepest blessings that were given to us by our Creator. So those two songs I just keep playing over and over again. I tend to hyperfixate. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. That's a great recommendation. And I do love Semler's music.
Yeah. You guys were the ones who introduced me.
Yeah.
I don't have a great answer to this question. I have been trying very hard to pay attention and also come up with an answer, and I don't have one.
That's
me. I need more friends.
Get to know Brendan.
Brendan. You can find me at the places I am.
When you come to church on Sundays, go to the tech booth, and there will be at minimum probably 2 people back there, and high five them at an appropriate time.
I see that I've been hoisted by my own petard. I don't want that to happen either.
Okay, casually wave from a distance.
There we go.
At an appropriate time.
Wave very excitedly, like you're happy to see me, and I will do the same to you. And I will continue about my day. Yes. There we go. That
perfect. I love it. The person I'm going to go with that I think more people should know would be your favorite barista. Just get to know their name. Like, just figure out who they are. Mine, this is the second time he's gotten a shout out on this podcast. Mine is Carter. Carter works at Broadcast Coffee. And I love Carter from Broadcast Coffee. That guy makes delicious, delightful lattes and coffees.
Right. Okay.
So Carter is delightful. But my favorite barista doesn't have to be your favorite barista, listener. Just go ahead and figure out the name of your favorite barista. You are probably picturing them in your head right now because you've seen them multiple times at whatever coffee shop you like to go to. And maybe you don't always think to ask for their name. Just ask for their name. It's going to be okay. And then you'll be able to chat with them when you see them.
I feel like 90% of like the gossip around Boise stories you told me have started with, so Carter told me.
Yes.
And on the pulse, Carter.
He is good at that, and I do appreciate that about him.
No, but can I tell you though, like I used to be a barista, just briefly on that, and there was an older couple that would come into the coffee shop, and they came so often, and when I was working there, they just started calling the coffee shop Matt's Place.
Aww.
And sometimes one of them would come without the other one. They were like, I was like, why? Even if you're off whatever, I just got to go to Matt's Place. And I was like, that's cute. So like that really, that's a very good rec. People, like baristas will remember that. So that's adorable.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much to the both of you, Matt, Erin. It was so much fun having you here.
So much fun.
This was a lot of fun. Thank you. Yeah, for real.
Letting me gripe about traffic more. It's great.
Yeah.
Anytime I get to on mic, I'm happy to.
Yeah, these episodes should just be ranting about traffic. I think we could fill an episode with just that.
We could fill an entire series.
And
just
then
like go and go and go.
Talk about walkable cities after
yes.
that.
Yes.
Walkable cities.
Perfect. Okay, well, this has been a lovely conversation with all of you. You can find all of us Brennan, myself, and Matt and Erin bopping around Cathedral of the Rockies from time to time. So, you know, come say hi, even if Brennan doesn't want you to.
Wave from a distance.
But we appreciate you listening to this podcast. My name is Alex, and thanks for listening to this episode of Here at the Table, HEAR, because again, nothing like a good word pun for an audio format. This podcast is a production of the Cathedral of the Rockies communications team. Cathedral of the Rockies is a United Methodist church located in Boise, Idaho. If you've enjoyed this podcast episode, make sure to subscribe to get the future episodes, and please share with anyone that you think could benefit from this conversation as well. If you'd like to reach out to us, please follow us on our social medias, Instagram and Facebook, and you can also find us online at cathedraloftherockies.org. Thanks very much, everybody.